Welcome to the Audacity. We are opening up the curtains to the world of business and speaking about all the things that business owners and coaches are gatekeeping from women who are just getting started. No conversation is too touchy and no subject is left behind. If people have the audacity to breadcrumb you, we have the audacity to speak about it.
I'm Leslie Jespersen, the Clair Cognizant Confidence Queen. My superpower is guiding boss-ass women into feeling fucking amazing being in the spotlight. I rebuilt myself from a burnt-out single mom social media manager to a globally recognized coach and speaker. Now I help my clients go from analysis paralysis to total brand embodiment.
I am Jaycee Neudorf, and I am a certified life and success coach. I am here to help women connect to themselves, regulate their nervous system, and achieve wealth, fulfillment, and impact in their life and business. I help my clients create a life and business they desire, feel confident and unstoppable in their brand, and tap into that next level in their healing journey. If you desire support and to connect, make sure to follow me at jayceeneudorf.co.
Hey, I'm Shelby St, soul alignment activator and business strategist at the Boss Lady Agency. From growing up in a cult religion to leaving an abusive marriage, awakening my soul, finding love again, and becoming a widow while 6 months pregnant, I now help women who are looking to step into expansion, leadership, visibility, and soul-aligned authenticity. I bring the duality between business, personal branding, emotional intelligence, and transformational healing. This is the Audacity.
We are here to talk about all of the shit that nobody else is talking about. So the three of us met inside of a mastermind program over a year ago now. And we have a lot of these conversations in private. And I think that we all just kind of felt like if we all feel this way, there are other people who are feeling this way as well. And so here we are talking about all of the things that are hush hush and that people are afraid to say.
That's truly how it came to be, of us just sitting here like we are constantly having these conversations. Other people have to be thinking and feeling this way too.
Shelby, you on your Instagram story, you were asking a couple people, you put like an engagement sticker out and asked people their opinions on the coaching industry, and the common theme that came up was
based around money. Like, okay, I'm starting my business. I'm trying to do this thing. How are people investing these high amounts of money that they're saying and then creating success when I'm here and I'm barely surviving? I'm barely making ends meet. I don't have money to invest into this high ticket coaching program that said I'm going to make X amount of money in the next X amount of days. It's an important conversation to just break through, especially in the coaching world, because there's so many that you just see, oh, I make $10,000. I make $1 million a month and I'm amazing. And there's just it's confusing. How did you get there? What'd you do?
Jaycee, we were talking in our little group chat right before this, and you sent a voice note that really made a lot of sense.
Yeah, like it makes me really sad to think of all these like women struggling. And like, I know I've been there, like with investing, like these coaches like paint this like magical picture of like what we want our life to look like. And especially when we're in a dark place of like really wanting that, we like find a way to find that money somewhere to go and like invest in that coach, right? And then when we don't get that result, a lot of the times like we blame ourselves and we think that like it's a reflection of us because we don't make X amount of money in 6 months or 6 weeks, which is ridiculous in my opinion. But especially when we're in a place where we're not doing the things, like we're going from like feeling just like confused and like a very dysregulated nervous system. And like, we're so paralyzed by fear where we can't really show up, and then we invest and then we like create that momentum, taking action. And a lot of it is good because like taking action obviously is super important, but we're doing it from a place of just like trying to prove ourselves and feeling worthy and like not feeling good enough. And then it's really hard to understand how we'll go from like doing nothing and like not making anything to like, I don't know, X amount of money within the 6 weeks. And it's just like not a thing. Like, I think if we were just honest with what the programs actually are and like that this program isn't going to save you and this program isn't going to give you this result that like you think you're going to get, right? it's going to like help you in your journey and it's going to help you create that. But I think if we're just more honest with the marketing and more honest about what the actual program is and not telling people what they need to hear to sign up, this wouldn't be a conversation.
That's exactly it. There's not really accountability in the coaching industry of like, you can't tell somebody that if they take your program, they're going to be at a certain place in their coaching. And you can't market it that way, especially because we end up signing up because we're looking at this program to save us or to rescue us, or like this is going to be the missing piece. And that's just not the case. Is it valuable? Do we learn things? Absolutely. But the marketing around it is like you just can't say those things.
Yeah, like raise your hand if you entered a program or worked with a coach because you wanted it to save you.
Exactly.
Truly, you hear things and you read the marketing, and you're like, oh my God, that's going to be the thing. That's what's going to make me all the money. And that's what's going to get me out of this place where I'm at. When in reality, the money dangling is such an issue in the coaching world because everybody wants their business to be successful and everybody wants a business where they're making a lot of money so that they can have the life that they desire. But most of the programs aren't actually based on, okay, this is how you're going to make this money, right? It's all this underlying stuff, all this inner work that has to be done, or all these systems that have to get put in place. And so you're doing all that. And then it's like, okay, well, why am I not making money? I'm a failure. Okay, having this business isn't for me. I'm not supposed to do this. When in reality, it's like, no, that just wasn't the thing that's going to make you the money. You now have this foundation, but now you have to do some other stuff on top of it to actually make the money.
Yeah, like management of expectations. That's something that I struggled with. So like my coaching business has really been out in the public for 2 years now. And in the beginning, because I have a marketing background, I felt like I was too good with my words. Like I can write the most beautiful copy that will make people want to sign up. But then I had all of these like limiting beliefs and I was terrified that like, okay, but can I actually do that for them? Like, I can't promise that. I can say that this is my intention with my coaching, but I can't promise this person that they are going to get those results. And like with the copy and the content and the marketing and the beautiful words, and you want to hit their pain points, like, yes, and you got to tell the truth. Like you have to set realistic expectations for what you are providing, especially if you're charging 4 and 5 figures.
Yes, because it's a lot for people.
Depends on so much too. Like when you sign up for a program, like it depends like what you've gone through, your experiences, like your energy, like what you've been doing before and like what you're like leaning into as you enter this new program, and just like where you're at in your personal life. Like there's so many things that play a part in like results and success, which is totally dependent on what that means to everybody. But like it's just like getting those results that you want when you invest. I think it depends on so much. And like especially when we're coming from an unworthy place of investing, we are constantly seeking for that answer. Like, hey, this time it's going to work, or this time it's going to work. I'm going to do everything I can to make this work. And then when you don't, or you feel like you're not successful, that's like when you go into that spiral. And that's when you kind of get back to that like rock bottom place.
Yeah. And how about
you're looking for more investments at that point, right? You're like, okay, that one didn't save me. Now I had to find something else.
Yes. And then we find ourselves being like bitter and feeling terrible every time that we have to make these payments to these coaching programs. And then we're like just stacking them up, and we've tried one after the other that are promising that we are going to, get to that point. But exactly what you said, Jaycee, it's your energetics, it's where you're at, it's your relationship with abundance versus lack mindset. Like it's all of those things that go into it that really determine if you're in the right place to be in a coaching program. Like, I think that's why, like, I decided to do an invite only program. Like, I want to make sure now that I am having the right people who are ready. Like, I never want to try and really convince somebody to give me money. There's a little bit of getting people outside of their comfort zone, but I don't want to like be like a used car salesman, you know?
Yeah, I experienced that too with one of my programs. There was, after the program ended, I realized how many people kind of fell off halfway through or stopped doing the work. And I had to take a step back for myself and look at, okay, why did that happen? Right. And like go and have honest conversations with these women of what happened. And it was like, this was too much, too fast for me. Right. Because the program was all focused on going deep and uprooting the trauma and healing it. And that was like a really pivotal moment for me because I recognized how just because we think, right, that that's the thing that we have to focus on or that's the thing that we have to do, it's not always the right next best step for us. So, say you're joining a program because you want to get to that point of making, I'm not even going to say 10K because I know that that's the focus for where everybody wants to be. But let's just say like you want to make a consistent 3K in your business. And so you join something for that. But in reality, you have, just like you both have been talking about, the limiting beliefs and the fears and the lack of abundance and everything connected to that. And you're focused on making money. And this coach is like, oh yeah, I'm going to help you do that. Like, I'm going to help you make money. But then you're in the program and you're going through it and you're doing the things. And then you start to hear, well, just so you know, like it might not come now, it might happen. And you start making money in like 6 weeks from now, 6 months from now, 6 years from now. And you're like, hold on. Because I literally joined this thing because I was told and had conversations that like this is going to be the thing that's going to help me make the money and I'm going to be given all the tools and all the workings to get there. And now you're telling me like it might not happen while you're in this program, but it might happen like 6 months from now. How does that fucking help me?
That has happened so many times.
But I had to have that own realization, like in my own program too, of taking that step back. So just like you, Leslie, of really realizing like it's important to have the deeper conversation. Is this what you really need right now? Or is there something else?
Yeah, because like we think, okay, surely like there's something missing that I don't have that I'm going to learn. And then that's just like, that's the key that opens the door. That's all I'm missing. And I'll just take this and like, that'll be that. And that's just not true. And I go back and forth, and I know we've all discussed this. I go back and forth with like discussing income and all of that stuff publicly. And I know that a lot of people say there shouldn't be any shame around it. And I don't think there should be a shame, but I think there should be honesty and transparency. Like, yes, you are making this much money a month, but what are your expenses? It's just not, it's not truthful and it's not transparent. And it's just not regulated.
A lot of ego selling. Like they're showing how great they are as a coach. And like there's good things about coaches and mentors. Like I fully believe like there is good coaches out there and there's lots of aspects of my life I wouldn't be if it wasn't for coaching. But I think, yeah, like you said, like transparency and like being honest and like a lot of the selling, like posting their PayPal and like all these links coming in or people saying how good they are as a coach and like things like that. It's just like, I feel like it's just like a lot of ego and them trying to prove them to themselves. Like a lot of coaches that maybe haven't dived more into their own healing. And it's really playing a part in this as well as like the marketing. And like, if we just like showed our business from a soul perspective of like, really embodying our mission and the transformation we want to give to people, I think this would be so much different.
Yeah, there's a difference between ego and confidence. Like confidence in the work that you do and the transformation you provide, absolutely. Like let your words speak for that. Let testimonials speak for that. But if all you have going for you is showing your PayPal notifications so that you can try and make those people feel like they're going to get all those PayPal notifications, I feel like something needs to change.
Always hurts my heart when I see coaches focusing just solely on that. Right, because not only does somebody posting constantly their PayPal, their Stripe, whatever it is, what it makes somebody that isn't there yet feel is a next level of scarcity. And I know we've talked about this, right? Actually, like trigger posting or trigger marketing that makes you feel a certain way or brings up something within you. And then you feel like, well, if I don't get into that program or I don't work with that coach, I'm never going to have that. Right. Clearly, they're going to show me how to get there because they're posting it and they're sharing it. But I think that it truly does come from partly this place of ego for them of just like, oh, look at how fucking badass I am that people pay me and I do the thing. Okay, but how did you get there?
Yeah.
Right, because that's the most important thing, and I think even we've experienced this with seeing people, okay, how did you get there? Right, because when you started your coaching business, you say that you were like this much in debt, okay, but how did you get to a point of making the money and doing things? What did you do then rather than what you're doing now of just posting your money that's coming in? And yeah, what is your money going to also at the end of the day? Because I know that money comes into my account and I have a lot of expenses that it goes right out to. So if I really look at my books at the end of the day, that money that I'm saying that I make every month, okay, it's coming in, but I'm not making it because I'm not keeping it.
Yes. And that's a huge thing I see because I've owned like a running like a traditional business. I don't think people realize like coaching is a business. And I told you guys about like my accountant. I was like, wait, I've never heard any coaches talking about issuing 1099s. He's like, that's because nobody wants to talk about it. But anybody that you pay a certain amount, you should be sending them a 1099 at the end of the year because otherwise, like, we're responsible. I'm responsible for that income and paying taxes on it. Jaycee, I know you're in Canada, but like here in the US, that's a thing. And I knew that. I knew that logically in my other business. But in my coaching, I'm like, oh shit, wait a minute. Like we're paying thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Why are we, what? Is nobody else doing this?
100%. There's so many things that aren't talked about. People having to save up and pay quarterly taxes and how much that actually is, or like
Yes.
how somebody who is making a lot of money, how they have to go out and they have to, not have to, but they choose to make these big expenses because then it takes a cut out of how much they have to pay in taxes, right? It's not because they're necessarily making all this extra money to go buy the Porsche or the G-Wagon, but it's like, okay, I made a substantial amount of money and a substantial amount went out, but it's actually wiser for me to go and put X amount of money down on this car and pay for it monthly because I'm going to get a bigger tax break, right? But then you get to go and you get to post the pictures of the car and people are like, oh, wow, holy shit. Like you're a baller. Yeah, you say you make this much amount of money every month. You probably pay for that car outright. When in reality, a lot of these people who are getting these expensive cars still have loans on their cars. They're just not saying that, right? They're just saying, I bought $100,000 car. I saw something the other day talking about Beyonce and Jay-Z, right? They are like billionaires, but they went ahead and they put however much down on an $83 million house and then they financed the rest. Why? Because it made more sense for them financially. We know that they make a lot of money, but they didn't go out and just put $83 million down, right? There's so much on the back end that's hidden. And when you're just starting your business, none of that makes sense to you. And it's really confusing. And you're trying to like connect all the dots and make everything meet. How are they doing that? What's going on? No, people are still like people who make good money are still financing things. Like, I also think that that's important to get out of the way. Like, it's okay when you do make money to have some debt. But I don't think it's okay to go into debt when you don't have money to make your monthly payments for a coach because you think that they're going to save you. Because ending up in that place of scarcity and lack when you don't have the money to make the payment, like you had already mentioned, Leslie, makes you really pissed off when you have to send the payment and you don't even have the money to send the payment. And I've been there too, where I'm like having to send a payment and I'm like, fuck this. Like the promise wasn't there. I didn't get the transformation. I got a ton of other stuff out of it. but I didn't get the thing that like I was really sold on. And so now I'm frustrated because I'm having to pay for this thing, even though, right? And I obviously go back to focusing on the good of what I got out of it, because that's what we need to do to keep ourselves moving forward. But there's still obviously that part of us that's just like, ugh, why?
Still important to talk about, because I think a lot of people are feeling like invalidated because they just see the good of people investing, and like things are starting to come out, which is really, really good in my opinion. We always get what we need to, right? Like we always end up getting what we need, but these coaches also still need to be held accountable for the things they're doing. That is not okay.
That's exactly it. And I think it just comes down to there needs to be other kinds of coaches besides coaches that teach you how to make money being a coach, but they are not covering the actual business part of being a coach, which if you really want to help people in their financial journey, you would teach them about that. But really it's because they don't understand it themselves. There's so much amazing things in coaching, and we know this, we're all coaches. Everything else that you can teach people, whether it's about social media and marketing, and whether it's about, soul alignment, and whether it's about, self-love, all of these things that are so important. But if all you've got to go on is here's how much money I made and you could do it too, I would beg you to get a little bit more creative. I don't know.
Yeah, right. Just it not be the focus on that I made this money, or, oh, this many people joined my program, so you should too. That urgency factor, I think, also is something that creates and triggers a lot of people, because it's that, how am I going to do it? I got to join it. All these other people are, I'm going to miss out. Their lives are going to change and mine isn't. And I think that this is going to really allow us a space to pull those curtains back and really talk about these things, right? Because as three women who own businesses and who have made money and have helped people and have worked with coaches and have spent a lot of money on helping ourselves, like when it actually comes down to the nitty gritty of it and you're building a business, like, why don't we talk about the things that actually matter rather than just posting PayPal and Stripe? What would you say is something that helped like both of your businesses to really get like the grounding foundation for allowing money to come in?
I would say like consistency and like sticking to like knowing what works, and like also connecting to yourself and like what feels good for you. Like I've done so many things where I invest in a coach and then I just like take on what they're doing and what they tell me to do. But knowing it just felt weird, and like really getting more like sustainability, and knowing that like normalizing that maybe things will take longer than you would want it to. Like think of how you want to feel in your business like 5 years from now. If you're constantly going from like strategy to strategy and like that quick fix, that quick cash injection feeling, right? That's not going to create what you want in like 5 years. And like really like sticking to one thing and like blocking out the noise around you where, oh, try this. Oh, if you're not doing this, then you're missing out, or, those things.
So true.
I love that. I love that. That last line, sticking to what's working and not, because it's so easy. Like there's so much chatter. We're in the community. So like that's our algorithm. And there's so many temptations to do the next thing, when really if we just sit down and stick with what we know and what works and stay consistent with that. And that's like branding too. That's super easy branding. Do one thing really, really well and tell the world about it, and stop trying to jump onto the next thing that you think is going to save you, which is like what we've been talking about the whole time. But if I had to say, what's one thing, I think taking this coaching business seriously as a business, because I started it like on the side, like, all right, I'm going to put a Zoom link out there and maybe someone will book and, I'll make a little bit of money here and there. But I really had to treat this like an entire business. Look at my budget. What are my expenses? How many like Calendly, Zoom, StreamYard, all of my expenses? What am I going to have to pay for taxes? And then not only the treating like the actual physical money in like the business sense, but in the time I invested. Like, I'm not just going to half-ass while I'm scrolling before bed. I'm actually going to storyboard my content. I'm going to be intentional with it. And if I really want to make this a serious business, I'm not going to just do like I see on social media. I'm not going to sit at the beach and spend 20 minutes, sending DMs and call that a business. For me, it was really taking myself seriously.
That was so good. Oh man.
No, because I've been there. I've done it.
Yes.
I've sat on the beach and been like, #coach life, like working. Like, I've done it.
Freedom.
Freedom.
I've done that shit too. I'm just like, oh, my office for the day.
Yeah.
No,
while you're trying about your business.
Like, I'm trying to escape. I've had to go to the beach to like ground myself and feel better. And now I'm trying to convince myself that I went there to work.
Yes. I went to the pool because I have no work. It's because
Yeah. Yes. Oh my God. I love both of those because I'm just like, yes and yes. Right. Like, I feel the same way. And also, I think relationships, like relationship to myself, right? Who am I as a person? Who do I want to be as a coach? And who do I want to show up as to the world, right? Because all of those should actually be the same, because we don't need to, like you said, Jaycee, like, it's so easy to become who we are watching and to look at the stories, say, oh, they're doing that. That's exactly how I need to do it. That's why they're successful. And you go and you like you're holding your phone, you make the same video 20 times because you're trying to be exactly like them. And it doesn't work because our energy isn't in it, right? So just knowing your relationship to yourself, who you want to be, how you want to be in your business, and allowing it all to just come into fruition as this same energetic being who gets to walk through life and just outpour herself in the most authentic way.
Well, this has been The Audacity. Thank you for watching. Make sure that you subscribe. Here are all of our usernames on Instagram. Let us know what you thought of the episode. If you have anything else you would love us to discuss and pull back the curtain on, bring it to us. We have The Audacity. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.